Are you experiencing thinning edges? Have you been looking for something to try to grow your edges back in after seeing that they were very, very thin? Well, I have just the thing for you. Today, we're going to be talking about the types of oils that you can use to grow in your thinning edges. This is Dr. Dwella Moten Nelson, your healthy scalp specialist. I know that many people might find that when they wear their hair in different types of styles, they can see that their edges might be a little bit thinner than they want them to be. Everyone definitely wants to have full, thick, growing edges. You don't want to be able to look at your edges and see your scalp up under your edges. So you don't want to see your scalp up under your hair. So today we're going to talk about some things that we can do to be able to help our hair to grow back around our edges. Well, first of all, let's talk about why your edges thin in the first place. Many people they have hair all over their head, very, very thick hair all over their head, but their edges can become very thin over time. The things that we'll want to talk about are things that we want to consider when we think about why our edges might be thinning. One of the things to consider is that if when you wear tension types of styles, if you pull your hair up into a ponytail, or if you wear braided styles, or if you wear crocheted styles, or if you wear gels or any type of tacky or sticky types of gels around your edges, those things can sometimes be drying and very damaging to your edges. Compared to the rest of the hair on your head, the hair on your edges is very, very fine and thin. So if you look at that hair compared to the hair, say, on the crown of your head, that hair on the crown of your hair, it will have a thicker dimension usually, or a thicker diameter will be very much thicker, it'll be coarser. You'll feel the density of that hair will be quite different than the hair that's around your edges. So for that reason, because that hair around your edges are closest to your face, that hair is going to be a lot more prone to breakage. It's going to be easier to damage. It's going to be easier to have chemical damage or heat damage. So that hair all around from the front of your face all the way around to the nape of your neck, that hair is very fragile normally. So you always have to be a little bit more gentle when you're getting your styles or braiding it or you're putting it into a ponytail. You always want to be very, very gentle with your edges because your edges are very easy to break because that hair just by nature is much more fragile than the rest of the hair that's all over the head. So that's the first thing we want to consider, that that hair is very different than the hair on the rest of your head. So it is very much more prone for damage and breakage. The second thing we want to consider is nutrition. So if you're having a healthy diet, first of all, drinking lots of water because your hair needs to be hydrated. Your body needs to be hydrated so that your hair can be hydrated. So drinking lots of water is really important to having very healthy hair, very healthy growing hair. And those hairs around the edges, they will become more dry. Just simply think about this. When wintertime comes, you put on a hat. When you're pulling a hat on and off, those hairs that are around your edges get pulled and they get pushed and pulled against your hats that you wear or your visors that you wear, and they will dry out much faster because they're exposed to cloth more often as well. Even when you put a head wrap on or when you put a sweatband on when you're going to work out, those hairs around your edges, all of that moisture and oil get deposited off of that hair onto that cloth, and it can be very drying for the hair that's around your edges. And so because it's drying those hairs out, they also become more brittle and more dry. So you want to make sure that you are hydrating. You're drinking lots and lots of water. I have another video that talks a little bit about the amount of water that you should be drinking based on your weight. And so you want to make sure that you're hydrated so that your body is hydrated and your hair is as healthy as possible. So that's the second thing. So the first thing we mentioned, of course, is that your hair is by nature is quite different than the rest of the hair on your head. Your hair on your edges is quite different. The second thing that we mentioned here is manipulation and the hair being dry or brittle or not hydrated. One of the third things that we mentioned also is that that hair also will experience more friction just because of you putting on a hat or putting on a visor. That's the third thing there. We talk about the nutrition, making sure that you eat well. That's really important. And you always want to make sure that when you are styling your hair, that the hair that's around the edges, that you're very gentle when you're styling and manipulating that hair. So if you're brushing it, you don't want to be really super vigorous when you're brushing your hair, especially around the edges. The same with a comb or with heat irons or with using styling tools. You want to be as gentle as possible when you're manipulating your hair around the edges because they are more prone to breakage and they will be more brittle compared to the rest of the hair. Those are a couple of reasons that I wanted to just make sure that you understand, why does your hair thin in the first place? Why does it seem to thin more around the edges than it does over the rest of your head? So I hope that that's helpful to help to understand why your edges will thin before sometimes other parts of your head. So that's really important to know why. Now let's talk about what we can do about it. So the title of this video was, let's talk about the types of oils that you can use to try to grow back your edges. One thing I want to caution you about is that if your edges have been damaged by chemical treatment or heat damage where your scalp was burned and you have scar tissue, it is almost impossible to have hair to grow out of scar tissue. If you think of what scar tissue is, that tissue has been damaged, and most of the time those follicles have also been damaged, and they're not just dormant. Those follicles are damaged, which means that they will not be able to grow hair. So just be mindful of that when you start to look at your scalp. I want you to kind of get into the habit of looking at your scalp, not just looking at your hair and your hairstyle or feeling how your hair feels, but all hair grows from your scalp. So you want to take a moment when you're in the morning after you brush your teeth to just part your hair, look at your scalp, see if your scalp looks healthy. See if your scalp looks dry. Feel it with your fingertips. Does it feel dry? Does it feel healthy? Does it feel pliable where it doesn't feel flaky at the scalp? You want to take a look at your scalp because a healthy scalp will grow hair. That's our motto here at Dr. Topic Oils, that if your scalp is healthy, it will grow hair. So making sure that you take a look at your scalp, especially because we're talking about the edges that are very fragile. Take a look at your edges and make sure that your edges don't have scar tissue. And then if you're not really sure, you can absolutely talk to a dermatologist and they can look at your scalp more closely to let you know if there's scar tissue that is there. A lot of times if your scalp is damaged, whether it's autoimmune type of response like an alopecia response where you're starting to get alopecia or scarring alopecia, which causes scarring on the scalp and it keeps your hair from growing, or if it's been a chemical burn that has now become scar tissue, you want to be able to know exactly how your scalp is looking. So a dermatologist would be a great person to give you that insight about whether or not your scalp is healthy. So from that, if you look at your scalp and your scalp looks nice and healthy, but it's just your hair is a little bit thinner than you want it to be, there are 3 oils that I would recommend that really are very, very helpful for growing the hair that's around the edges. The first oils is an essential oil, actually. It's peppermint essential oil. Now, peppermint essential oil it's very, very potent. When you put it into your scalp, it has a very cooling feeling. You always want to use a carrier oil when you're using peppermint oil. Peppermint oil can burn your skin, and so I always recommend if you're going to use it, make sure that you read about it, make sure you have the proper dilutions for being able to use it before you put it onto your scalp. And then the second oil that I would recommend is black castor oil. And black castor oil is a type of oil that is known to grow in hair, but it has certain types of nutrients in it that really help to boost that hair growth. A lot of people do use that already when they have braids and things like that, that they use castor oil. The third essential oil that I recommend is rosemary oil. And rosemary oil has been touted in lots of research where it's helped people to grow in their hair, not just on the edges, but all over the hair. So if you're looking for an essential oil formula, you want to make sure that it has rosemary oil. Just like we have our essential oil formula, Nutritive Scalp Elixir. This through Dr. Topic Oils. It has all of these essential oils already put in the formula exactly at the concentration they should be to be able to give optimal hair growth. So that's something you want to consider when you're looking for essential oils. Those 3 are the ones that I highly recommend just because I know that they work and you'll start to see hair growth within 30 to 45 days. And if you're using essential oil blends and you've been using it for 4 months or 6 months or a year and you have not seen any hair growth, you want to start to kind of look at what's in that formula. It does not take a long time for your hair to remember how to grow. If you've suffered with hair loss, you'll know exactly what I mean when I share this piece. When you start to look at your hair and you're like, oh, my hair is a little bit thinner than it usually is. I want it to grow and I want it to be thicker. My ponytail looks much thinner than it usually does. You want it to be able to grow and you want it to be thicker. You want your whole head of hair to be thicker. So if you're using some type of growth serum or growth oil or growth pomade or growth elixir, it should not take that formula 6 to 8 months or longer for you to start to see your hair growing. A healthy scalp will grow hair. So if your scalp is nice and healthy, you should be able to start to see hair growth in your hair within the first 30 to 45 days. At the most, 2 full months. If you've been using it for 2 full months and you have seen no hair growth at all, more than likely this is not the ideal formula for you. With that being said, you want to make sure that you're using formulas that are working, that are helping your hair to grow, that are helping your hair to be as healthy as possible. But you want to make sure that you're not using something for a really long time that you're not getting any benefit from it. If you have a question, you can just drop that question below. If you have a comment, drop that comment below, and I look forward to hearing from you. And so I hope that this video has been really helpful. And thank you again for listening. Again, this is Dr. Dwella Motenelson, your healthy scalp specialist. Bye.